Welcome back to another edition of the R&D Podcast here in Raiderland. That would be Ryan and David for those scoring at home. Those are the initials of our first names, hence the name of the podcast.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah, R&D. Yeah. It has nothing to do with research and development. We do none of that. No preparation whatsoever for the podcast.
Scroll through Twitter.
All right, let's get to it. The message sent by the College Football Playoff Committee to Oklahoma and some other teams yesterday. We want you to schedule really good. It's handy if you win, but really, you might as well do what Washington did, which is just keep your nose clean, and if you're in a Power 5, you'll probably get in that way. What do you think we learned yesterday? Or did we learn anything?
I think we learned that it changes year to year, and it changes how it benefits the committee, unfortunately. Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it.
Read television partners.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be different if Oklahoma only had one loss. I think they would be in at this point. So, yeah, schedule a little bit easier, and that's the sign there. I think Bob Bowlesby put it best in his email to whoever is in charge. What do we need to do to make sure? And now in his
don't get me started.
Yeah, exactly. In his defense, he at least said, "Now we didn't really have a dog in the fight this year, but if we do we need to have a conference championship game? Because you've told us that 13th data point is huge, and Penn State would beg to differ at this point." Yeah. Or do we need to schedule difficult, which Oklahoma certainly did. They didn't win them, so that's a big problem. But I'm shocked that Bob Bowlesby was that quick to pull the trigger.
At least he was doing something. Mm-hmm. It's not going to matter. No, this league is in its dying death throes, as it should be. But imagine this scenario next year in the wonderful Bedlam game where Oklahoma edges out Oklahoma State in Stillwater, and then they get together a week later and play each other again for their 13th data point. No one will care. It won't matter on that front. It was dumb to put the championship game in play when you've got a 10-team league. You just have good tiebreakers and you say, this is our champion, and that's what we've done. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. If it's not, it's not. And, oh, by the way, everybody's leaving the league anyways.
I just think it's funny that years ago the Big 12 started a Big 12 championship game and everybody else scoffed at it. And now everybody else has one and the Big 12 doesn't have one, and they're doing it wrong. But maybe they're not, because some of the people that scoffed at it, the Big 10, are seeing that it doesn't necessarily work out. This proves to me that we just need to have 9 or 10-team leagues. Everybody plays everybody. Get rid of the conference championship games and fix these issues, and maybe add.
And if we can go to 8 or 16 teams, we can get that added. No, I think 16 works.
No.
16 works well. It gives you an added layer, and that takes up the championship game weekend. And it eats up some of that time frame. The TV execs would like it. And it also, the 16-team format will do this for you. Home games. You can seed your top teams and have home games and give your fans one more home game, which I think would be fantastic.
I think you can do that at 8. I think that works just fine at 8.
8, they're going to want to involve the bowls. Those top bowls are going to want to be in there at 8. At 16, you can justify some top seed home games. Or even buys. You can do some of that.
I can see your argument there, but 16's too many.
32 is where it's at, my friend.
I'm glad Mike Leach isn't sitting here right now. He'd be slapping.
108 double round robin.
Exactly. Just start it from the beginning.
It would be fun. I don't think anybody got screwed on this deal. Penn State has the best case. They did everything you're supposed to do, minus win the right games in the regular.
Well, and you can make arguments for everybody. You can make arguments for Michigan, who beat Wisconsin and Penn State and lost on a last-second field goal and in double overtime. Why isn't Michigan good enough? See, there's plenty of people you can argue for, and that's the issue here is there's 4 teams in the Big Ten that kind of have an argument. Maybe Wisconsin.
As long as we're not guaranteeing champions a spot in this, then winning a championship in a league doesn't matter. And none of what the committee has said over the last 3 years has been, champions are guaranteed. If that were the case, you'd have 8 teams in there, and you could guarantee the Power 5 and 3 at large.
Well, like you just said there, that's flawed from the beginning. That we should have known from the get-go that winning a conference championship game didn't guarantee you, because there's only 4 spots and there's a Power 5. So we were all dumb to think that in the first place.
It's just it's an eyeball. It's a beauty pageant, and it's for big names and big names only traditionally.
Plenty of people said if Ohio State was in Penn State's place,
guess who gets in? Ohio State.
Yep, welcome.
Kirby Hocutt is sitting there talking about the importance of conference championship games, and they ran the gauntlet in the Big Ten, and then they did it again one more time against a fantastic Penn State squad, and you just can't deny what Ohio State has done on the field.
It's a mess. That's why we love it.
All right, you guys leave your comments below. Maybe one of these days we'll be talking about, I'd love for Tech to at least get screwed.
There you go.
Elevate the program to the point you're getting screwed. We'll see you guys soon in Raiderland.